Welcome to the Tea Huddle with Marisa and Kelly.
Your only source for gridiron gossip. If you loved watching football this week,
or if you loved seeing what the players dressed up as for Halloween,
then this podcast is for you.
I liked both, personally. I watched more football this week because my fantasy games were...
They were close.
Than I have in a while, but I also liked seeing what everybody was dressed up as. A lot of people got in the spirit.
Everyone got in the spirit, yeah. Before the games, they were dressed up. I saw Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld hosted a circus-themed party together. They were loved up.
Yes. I feel like we haven't talked about them much because they're so low-key, but they are so cute, so happy. Like, they're great.
They're in love.
NFL couple.
Clearly.
Yeah. Another couple that we have to talk a little bit about their costumes before we get into the episode. Matt and Kelly Stafford dressed up as the most iconic NFL couple of late. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Yeah, they look good.
They did. They really committed to the costume.
They're three little girls.
Yeah. But one thing is that Kelly Stafford has sort of been outspoken about Taylor's attention, or like she's been one of those voices that's like, why do they show her so much, as if it's her fault. She said, I watched my husband work his ass off, and all these guys who work for the league work their asses off, and all of a sudden they're like the sideshow because she gets so much attention. But then she dressed up like Taylor and brought her kids on a private plane to see one of her shows recently and said, like, that was not a slight at Taylor. That was at the NFL and the coverage. So I guess it was like an homage, that costume.
She takes that comment back.
Yeah. Other than the costumes, Kelly, give us the rundown on everything that happened week 9 of the NFL.
In week 9, the Jets ended their losing streak by beating the Texans during Thursday Night Football. The Bills eked out a win over the Dolphins thanks to kicker Tyler Bass. Bryce Young got his first win of the year when the Panthers beat the Saints.
I can't believe first of the year.
He looked so happy.
Because he always looks so sad.
I mean, he didn't play for a few games. Now he's back out there and showing what he can do.
Good for you, Bryce.
The Bucs almost beat the Chiefs. If only they went for 2.
Yeah.
But
I know all about going for 2.
Meanwhile, the Giants need to stop going for 2.
Oh, so they each need to
need to figure out their strategy. And I don't have any good news to report about the Patriots, but they did troll the Yankees by lending their plane to the Dodgers when they returned back to LA after they won the World Series last week.
Like taking the Boston-New York rivalry
just
across sports.
Yeah.
Except I did see an article. I love the thought that they're trolling, but I did see an article that the Dodgers actually, what do you call it when you get a plane? Chartered. That the Dodgers actually just chartered the Patriots plane. Like, it's just available to be used for payment.
Maybe they chartered it on purpose.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. That's possible.
I'll go with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Patriots definitely referenced the New York-Boston rivalry in a tweet, and they posted the Yankees lose, which is a David Ortiz signature dig when the Yankees lose the playoffs.
So they chartered it and then celebrated the connection.
We'll keep the rivalry strong.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. All right, our top story of the week is probably something you heard about all over social media, all over the news. Jason Kelce is in the middle of some controversy, which we hate to see. We love Jason. We're rooting for him.
He lost his composure this past weekend.
He really did. So he was at Penn State on Saturday for the Big Ten Showdown. Apparently, I know nothing about college football. I'm still trying to figure out the NFL. A game between Ohio State and Penn State, and he made an appearance on ESPN's College Game Day. So he's like walking around amongst the people, which
they're all like tailgating,
which is something we love about Jason Kelce, that he is amongst the people.
Amongst people.
He's drinking out of boots and jumping through tables and the whole thing. And so the first video I saw, it's the point of view who somebody's trying to get a fist pound from him. So it's just like, Jason Kelce, can I get a pound? Can I get a fist pound? And there's all these people screaming at him. And just watching the video, it's overwhelming. I can't imagine being surrounded by this many people. Like, Jason, shouting.
Thinking about it, if it's Penn State, they're all Eagles fans and like big fans of his, you would think.
I actually didn't even think about how Penn State is in.
Those are his people.
I didn't even think about that. So thanks. Yes. And you would think these are his people, except one of these guys was not his people. So while everybody's like, Jason, you're the man. Jason, give me a high five, whatever. One guy screams, hey, Kelce, how does it feel? Your brother is we're not going to say the word because it is a homophobic slur starting with the letter F. How does he feel that your brother is an F slur for dating Taylor Swift? Which, first of all, doesn't make any sense.
No.
He's dating one of the most famous, beautiful, successful women like that. What? I mean, not that obviously he was hurling a slur. He wasn't trying to make sense, but like, what? For dating a woman? It just like literally.
He was just trying to get on his nerves.
He was just trying to get on his nerves, try to get a rise out of him. It was successful. So the first video that came out hours before other videos came out shows Jason Kelce turn around, look this troll in the face, take his phone out of his hand and spike it on the ground like it's a football. And everybody on the internet is like, you know what? Usually destroying somebody's property is not the answer, but like,
that guy's in your face.
He like, hell yeah. Like you showed him what was up. Like, these people are keyboard warriors. They're so used to being able to just say horrendous, horrible stuff to people and have no consequences. Jason Kelce is a giant professional athlete, and this little college kid is harassing him, and like he got what was coming is what we
originally thought,
is what the vibes were for a while. But then a couple hours later, more video comes out, more angles and extended video that shows. So what I think happened from piecing together all the videos, I'm like a detective.
Yeah, please lay it out for me.
So I think he threw the phone.
There were a lot of angles.
There were. I think he threw the phone down and picked it back up and walked away. Jason Kelce is now holding the phone. Maybe because like there's footage of him throwing it.
Yeah.
So he walks a couple yards and then he tosses it back out, not in like an aggressive throw, in like I don't need this anymore. And then I think from his peripherals, he sees the phone owner like go to grab for the phone. So then Jason Kelce goes to grab for the phone again, and he's like crouched down to get the phone. And the phone owner shoves him, which is now not just harassment, it's physical assault.
Like, why would you shove Jason Kelce?
He's twice your size.
He's huge.
He could just stomp on you and you're done. And he shoves him. Jason Kelce stands up and gives him a look like, do you realize what you just did? You just woke a monster.
Which is what he did.
And the guy is screaming, give me back my phone, give me back my phone, give me back my phone. And in response, Jason Kelce screams, who's the F slur now? Who's the F slur now? That was not correct.
Not the way
to handle it. Using a homophobic slur at all.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure if it was like that word that really set him off or just like the fact that
right after he got physically touched, which I'm sure like his brain was just not like he wasn't making clear, conscious, thoughtful decisions at that point.
He just kind of snapped.
He did. And so then he picks up the phone and walks away, and the guy's screaming about giving me back my phone. And then it's hard to hear. He says something about Taylor again. It's hard to hear because like there's so much noise, but it sounds like, if you want to have Taylor Swift, give me back my phone, you pussy ass bitch. So then he gets his phone back. Either Jason hands it to him or he tosses it on the floor and he picks it up. It was hard to see. And then the video that I'm watching that shows the extended video, which came out days after this video, the phone owner turns around to the camera that's recording this video and says, Travis Kelce just broke my fucking phone. So like, it's unclear if he thinks that was Travis or I think probably the adrenaline of the moment was just like,
or because he said that about Travis.
Yeah.
Like that's why his phone's broken.
Right.
But probably the adrenaline.
So that was weird.
They're all kind of shook up.
Yes. And then Jason Kelce walks away. He did address it Monday night at Monday Night Football. He seemed super torn up about it. Like couldn't make eye contact with the camera. Like his head was hanging low. He seemed really ashamed.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm not happy with anything that took place. I'm not proud of it. In a heated moment, I chose to greet hate with hate. And in that moment, I fell down to a level I shouldn't have.
Yeah, he seemed very sincere. And I'm glad he apologized because he took it too far. But
I'm curious, like if he had just broken the phone, I sort of don't think he needed to apologize at all. Like this guy was a piece of shit and God was expect anything to happen.
And
but
the fact that he repeated the slur word multiple times.
Yeah.
Definitely needed an apology for that.
Yes. And in his apology at Monday Night Football, he says, like, I always try to live my life by the golden rule, treating others how I want to be treated. I didn't do it in that moment. Like you said, his apology seemed super sincere. He seemed really ashamed of himself. And I'm glad that guy's phone got broken. I guess the lesson is like not to let these people who are just trying to get a rise out of you.
Yeah, don't let them get to you.
Yeah. Jason, stay strong.
Yeah, stay strong. He's got to hear so much shit every day though about Travis and Taylor. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, and this outshined earlier in the week. He was at some golf or some other sporting thing. I don't know. And I think it was Pat McAfee, who every time I say his name, I have to Google, is it McAfee or McAfee?
McAfee.
It's McAfee. Okay, thank you. I said, oh, by the way, I'm going to your future sister-in-law's show the other night. And Travis and Jason said, oh my God, you're going? Like, get ready. It's going to be amazing. He didn't say, whoa. Like, so he sort of basically gave the nod that is going to be my future sister-in-law.
Just let it happen already.
I know. We're waiting.
We're ready.
So we hate to have to criticize Jason because we love him, but not cool using that language even when you're hyped up.
Jason also said some dumb shit on the New Heights podcast last week when someone called in asking for advice, relationship advice. I guess they have some kind of segment where they take and give out advice to listeners. And someone asked for advice because they're going through a dry spell with their wife. And he said way too much. Jason went on this long tangent about how he would go about it and just wouldn't stop talking. I don't even want to get into the details, but Kylie did not agree with his take.
I saw she made a TikTok being like, it seems like my husband's going to go through a dry spell if he doesn't stop
moral
talking.
Of the story is don't give relationship advice.
Yeah. And that maybe Jason needs to think before he speaks a little bit. With all this, he's probably not used to this many people caring about what he has to say. Like, he was a center for...
Now he could be picked apart.
Yeah, exactly. Taylor, the queen of PR, could just maybe give like a quick lesson.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks for apologizing, Jason. Yeah. We have another coach firing to report.
It's been a while, I feel like, since we had one. Oh, actually.
A few weeks. The Jets coach was fired like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, not that long.
But yeah, not too many yet this season. Saints head coach Dennis Allen was fired on Sunday after the Saints' brutal loss to the Panthers. They lost 22-23.
Damn.
So it was a close game there. The Saints beat the Panthers 47-10 in week 1. So a little bit of a slip has happened.
Definitely.
They started the season 2-0 and have lost 7 straight games. So not a good run for the Saints.
No, that's worth maybe firing your head coach over.
Firing your head coach. Yeah, so Dennis Allen was fired and the special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi will be the interim coach.
Oh, that feels random. I have no knowledge of their structure.
They're keeping it internal for now. But like Aaron Rodgers, we use this term, coach killer. Derek Carr might also be a coach killer, turns out. Or at least for this one specific coach, Dennis Allen. They have been on the same team before, Derek Carr and Dennis Allen and coach Dennis Allen. In 2014, when Dennis was the head coach for the Raiders, he was fired after 4 games, and Derek Carr was his quarterback then. And so now this is his second firing with his quarterback as Derek Carr.
A decade later.
A decade later.
Not by the same quarterback, but
maybe. There's a similar cause and effect happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, Dennis. Hope you find a new job.
And you likely will not want to work with Derek Carr again.
Yeah, maybe you should have thought about that before accepting it. But it seems like some players are not blaming the coach, but blaming Derek for the loss and several losses, I guess. 7 losses.
Yikes.
Former Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas. We've talked about him in the past before.
Yes, he was the one who threw a brick through somebody who's parking in front of his house's window. That's the only thing I know. I don't know what position he is. I barely know what team he's on. But he told, I think it was a construction worker, if you park in front of my house again, I'm going to throw a brick through your window. And then he did.
He did it.
Yeah.
And he's not on a team, actually. He's a free agent. But he was on the Saints last year.
So then I do not know what team he's on.
Yeah, which is an interesting fact because he had a lot to say on Twitter for being someone who's not actively playing. He went on a rant on Sunday after Chris Olave suffered a scary concussion during the game.
Chris Olave, I also only know because he got arrested. I think he was speeding home from CVS.
He was, yeah. Nice job. Yeah, we know these guys.
I never forget an arrest.
Yeah, unfortunately for Chris, he went out with his 4th career concussion on Sunday.
Yikes.
So prayers for you, Chris.
Yeah.
But Michael Thomas was very upset by this as well. He tweeted, they fired all them coaches trying to cover his flaws, and he's still doing the same shit. Derek Carr, he's referencing. Yeah. He goes on and on, which we'll get to, but it seems like there's been some bad blood brewing between Michael Thomas and Derek Carr that originated in prior year.
Oh.
In January, this past season, he tweeted that he was set up by a bad ball, which led to a season-ending injury.
I mean,
where he caught a pass, in 2023, and then ended up getting really hurt and hasn't played since. He then deleted a tweet that said, "When your eyes don't work, you get people hurt. It's no mystery." So, like, really going after Derek Carr's ability to make a pass. And then on Sunday, he referenced this scenario in these tweets from last year when he said, "Dude tried to lie and say I was jealous of them making Chris wide receiver 1, but the whole time you can't even get him a decent ball." And the tweets go on and on, really just going after Derek Carr. Derek responded saying, "I've had so many teammates over the years, and he's the one dude that doesn't get along with me."
Oh, he addressed it.
He addressed it. Said, "I don't know what I did to him. I don't know why he feels this way. I'm sorry for whatever he's dealing with to make him feel like he's got to do that." He says that Michael Thomas has never reached out to him one-on-one. They've played together for years, and he never reached out to him. He said, my phone number has never changed. I've called him on different occasions just to try, and you can try as hard as you want, but sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's okay. I hope he gets on a team and does what he wants to do and loves it," Carr said. So he's like...
Wow. I mean, him saying, "I don't know why he feels this way," he explained why he feels this way, because you threw a pass and it was bad, I guess, and he had a season-ending injury. I don't know if that's, like, if you can blame the person. Like, what if his finger slipped, or what if he just... I mean, I guess he's...
Yeah, so there's a few different takes on this. So he's not the only one who's upset at Derek Carr. Chris's brother, Josh, also kind of chimed in, being critical of Derek Carr.
Family affair.
Yeah, he shared a tweet on whatever. I was updating people saying my brother's okay. He's up and active. And a separate Twitter user said, "It might be time to have that conversation. Is it worth it?"
Agreed.
He's had a lot of concussions.
Yeah.
And Josh responded, "It ain't worth it in NOLA, I'll tell you that."
Oh.
So they're all tense times on the Saints. And then getting back to what you're saying about, like, is it really Derek Carr's fault?
Mm-hmm.
RG3.
Yes.
He tweeted about this as well, saying, "Throwing wide receivers hospital balls is never okay. You hate to see what happened to Chris Olave, and we as quarterbacks have to stop doing it."
A hospital ball, like a ball. Oh my God, like a ball that's going to send them to the hospital.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So it is like a big controversy, I guess, that I've been kind of looking into more. But a hospital ball, hospital pass is when a quarterback just like chucks the ball up in the air, kind of seeing that there are a lot of defenders around, or like throws it to an open place on the field where the wide receiver is running to catch the ball, and there's a safety coming that the wide receiver can't see, but it's high risk of injury and collision, especially in the middle of the field where they're just chucking the ball up and there's a high chance of an injury occurring.
I have no stance on that, like if it's Derek Carr's fault or not. But there's so much for a quarterback to be aware of. He has 300 men, not 300 men, that he would be really outnumbered, 300-pound men running at him. He's like, there's just a lot going on, and he's trying to throw the ball, and there's this and there's that. I feel like, is it his fault? I mean, I guess throwing the ball when you know that somebody might get run right into is bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's got to be tough from the quarterback's perspective too. But when you do it, it sounds like Derek has a history of throwing these kind of passes and just trying to get it out of his hands so he doesn't get sacked, and it makes his stats better.
Well, right. I guess if there's a history of it, then it's
like if you're
tells the story itself. I didn't watch this game, but I did see the clip of Michael Thomas's injury. He really got boinked there. It was almost looked like a cartoon. It's a full collision.
Yeah, he was down.
A hospital ball. Now I know that it's called.
Yeah. And so Derek Carr throws hospital balls. Everyone knows it now.
Wow.
He's having a tough year. He is officially the first quarterback to ever lose to 31 teams.
No.
So there's 32 teams in the NFL, which he could lose all 32 come December when they play the Raiders.
I hope he loses to the Raiders, because that's a stat. He's the only person in history who's ever lost to every single NFL team.
Yeah, there's a few who've lost to 30 teams, but never to every single one.
Wow.
Fun fact, there are quarterbacks who have beaten all 32 teams, including Tom Brady.
Oh, wow.
Brett Favre,
We hate him.
Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. But that's it.
Drew Brees was a beloved Saints quarterback, unlike Derek Carr, who is a hated, apparently.
And Drew Brees beat 32 teams.
Wow.
Derek Carr might lose to 32 teams.
Yeah.
So the Saints have fallen.
Yeah, poor New Orleans fans. They have taken
They're dealing with a lot.
Damn. I know Drew Brees from Hall's commercials, and because Ellen DeGeneres was a Saints fan and had him on a lot. Neither here nor there.
He kind of looks like Ellen. You mention it. It's like a lot.
Wow. Well, I feel a little bit bad for Derek Carr in this story, but I also obviously feel bad for Michael Thomas and Chris Olave and Chris Olave's brother. Damn.
I hope you recover quickly, Chris Olave. Take your time to rest.
And if you do come back, wear a guardian cap. Damn.
Guardian caps. Yeah, let's do that next time.
We have a few quick segments for you this week before the lead segment. So now it is time to check in on our friends Trayvon Diggs and journalist Mike Leslie.
Checking in.
Trayvon Diggs is a cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys. You might remember last week we talked about his altercation with journalist Mike Leslie, who tweeted about Trayvon missing a tackle in the previous week. And Trayvon approached him after the game outside the locker room and said, "Talk about D's nuts."
Yeah, if you want to talk about my playing, instead you could talk about D's nuts. Well, they have mended fences. An olive branch has been extended because this week at a presser, Trayvon Diggs brought out 2 containers of nuts and asked Mike Leslie which one he wanted. They cheersed nuts containers and then they hugged it out. And
I love that.
It was nice. They buried the hatchet.
They worked through their...
Yeah. I think we could all learn a little something from their nuts container cheers. And it's that
you can laugh at yourself the next week and move on and apologize.
You can apologize. You can forgive. You can forget. Cheers to D's nuts.
Sorry. And we have a strange version of our most regular segment. It's time to step out of the car.
Step out of the car, Jameson Williams. Step out of the car.
Jameson Williams, a wide receiver for the Lions, somehow found a way to step back into his car and not get arrested during a traffic stop on October 8th.
Yeah, so this one is kind of juicy, kind of interesting. So we're just finding out about it now, this past week. It happened on October 8th. Jameson Williams was in the passenger seat of a car. His brother was driving. They got pulled over for speeding. The cop, which we know all of these details because the body cam footage has recently been released. He said, "Do either of you have weapons?" They said, "Yes, we both have weapons." He said, "Okay, do you have concealed carry permits?" The driver, who's his brother, said, "I do." So both weapons were registered. So they were legally allowed to have the guns.
Okay, and they admitted to having them. That's good.
Right. So like so far so good. You had guns, but you were permitted to have them and you admitted to having them. But they needed conceal carry permits or concealed permit licenses, or it's CPL. Okay. I don't. Yeah. And the driver, his brother, did have that and he did not.
He doesn't have it, or it wasn't on him?
It wasn't. He doesn't have it. Okay. It doesn't exist. So what should then happen is that he is arrested for committing the crime of concealing a weapon that was not permitted to be concealed, taken in, booked. So he is handcuffed and put in the back of the car. And in the body cam footage, we hear Jameson Williams say 3 times, "I play for the Lions. I play for the Detroit Lions. I'm a wide receiver for the Detroit Lions."
He's really trying to
He is hoping, and the arresting officer simply does not care, but he calls in a sergeant to help him with this arrest, which I hear is routine to do if it's like a high profile arrest or complicated for any reason. So he calls in the sergeant. The sergeant says, "Okay, what's the name of the person we're arresting?" He says, "Jameson Williams." And the officer says, "The wide receiver." And you hear Jameson Williams say from the back of the car, "Yes, bro, the wide receiver." You then see in the body cam footage, the sergeant who's been called in has his phone in his hand to open up to call a lieutenant who's above him. And you see that the background of his phone is the Lions logo.
Big Lions fan.
So what Jameson Williams was hoping for has now happened.
Yeah.
The sergeant calls a lieutenant who I guess co-signed that we don't have to arrest this guy. You're free to release him. So on the phone, you hear just the sergeant's side of the phone call. And he says, "Okay, so I'm good to release him. You're a fucking hero." And then releases Jameson Williams, returns the gun back to him, and they let him go.
Yeah. And didn't he also say to the arresting officers, "I'm so mad at you"?
Yes, he said, he whispers, "I'm so mad at you too," to the 2 arresting officers, because like, how could you
arrest the star wide receiver? We need him.
So now the reason this has all come to light this week is because it's being investigated internally by the Detroit PD. Basically, like
why'd they let him go?
Why'd they let him go? It's very clear from the video why they let him go based on this man's lock screen. We know why they let him go. But it's getting like raised up the ladder over there in Detroit. And I think what's going to happen now is that Jameson Williams is not going to face further consequences, but the officers involved might.
For letting him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't the first time that Jameson Williams has been in trouble. Last season, he was suspended for violating the league's gambling policy after he was found to bet on a non-NFL games from the Lions practice facility.
Oh, like you can't bet on the premises. Maybe there's like a rule about that.
Yeah, and I guess on other like college football you can't bet on. And so that was an automatic 6-game ban. At the time, it was later reduced to 4 games upon a change in rules from the league's office regarding the violation, but either way, he was suspended. And he just finished a 2-week suspension for performing enhancing drugs. It's important to note he denies taking any, but he was suspended. He said, "The news came to me as a complete surprise that I'm still trying to understand. I don't take supplements or vitamins, and I'm overly cautious about even taking over-the-counter medicine. At no time have I ever taken anything in an attempt to cheat or to look for an unfair advantage. I understand that I'm responsible for everything that goes into my body, and I have to take accountability in this instance."
I feel like we have heard that like sometimes something you take, I mean, he said he doesn't take supplements or vitamins, but like sometimes something in like a protein powder will get
even like an extra strength Tylenol. Like, sometimes those get picked up.
So I mean, unless he's just straight up lying, it sounds like he didn't know that something that he took would count.
It seems like in both of these scenarios, like there's just one thing off.
Like maybe he's trying to do the right thing. Although I mean, I guess if I was getting arrested and I had like one string to pull, I would try to pull it. But the fact that he says 3 times in the video, "I'm a Lion. I'm a Detroit Lion. I play for the Lions."
Yeah. And I feel like it works in some cities more than others. Like I'm sure Boston, Philly.
Yeah, definitely.
Diehard fans. I guess Detroit.
The right sergeant got called.
Yeah.
Or like a arrest that was made famous over the summer when Justin Timberlake was arrested. And he said to like a young cop who had no idea who he was, "This is going to ruin the tour." And the cop said, "What tour?" And he said, "The world tour."
The world tour. That was in New York, right?
Yeah, in the Hamptons.
Like, there's no way New York officers would be lenient.
I feel like you get the right like Yankee fan and the right Yankee.
Staten Island, maybe.
But this officer and Justin Timberlake, it was
didn't
not,
work.
It did not work. Well, I hope Jameson Williams like follows the rules a little bit better. He's like almost following the rules.
Yeah, get that permit.
Yeah.
And then you're good.
Registered
you're
the
almost
gun.
there.
You're like you're almost there.
You said you had it, you registered it, but
and important to note, Dan Campbell and the Lions have said like we're aware of all of this. We were aware as soon as it happened. We alerted the league. So it sounds like we're not waiting for the other shoe to drop for him and for the Lions.
I don't want him to be suspended again. He just came back. And he didn't do that either, apparently.
Right. And now for our main segment for the second time, it's time to honor our touchdown celebrations.
Out of the gate, it appears we have a trend, which we love, starting with Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver for the Lions.
Go Lions.
Your guy.
Yeah.
He wore a Green Bay Sucks hoodie to Lambeau Field. And just to set the scene, and when he scored a touchdown, he did a headstand.
Like not just a headstand, like it was like he was an exclamation point.
Pencil, like a pencil headstand.
So he was actually the second person on Sunday to do it. Drake London with the Falcons did the same celebration earlier in the day. And I was like, wait, why would two people, like that feels random. So the day before, a college player, Jalen Walthall of the Incarnate Ward Cardinals, apparently Incarnate Ward is a college. Never heard of that.
Going viral now.
He did the pencil headstand.
He was the trendsetter. And then... Yeah, I saw that and he got like a flag for doing that. But I guess it's worth it for...
Going viral.
Yeah, having all these NFL players copy you.
Definitely. Drake London did it before Amon-Ra, but his was cut, like not on TV. Like the camera's cut to somebody else. I'd be so pissed.
Yeah, that's impressive.
I did a headstand.
They all have very good form.
And then later in the day, someone else is getting all the credit for it. Pissed.
They both crushed it.
Yeah.
Another fun celebration was after a fumble recovery. Safety on the Cowboys, Donovan Wilson, he rolled the football like a bowling ball and knocked over two or three of his teammates who fell on the ground like bowling pins.
I love the theatrics.
Yeah, they really just fall down everywhere.
They get so into it. One of my favorites from the week, DeAndre Hopkins, who just got traded 2 weeks ago from the Tennessee Titans is now a Kansas City Chief and celebrated his touchdown by doing a little dance from Remember the Titans, like in the Everywhere We Go.
I love that. And then everyone joined in.
And people thought this might have been a shot at his former team because, like, remember the Titans? He just got traded by the Titans. But it was the opposite. He tweeted, "It was a shout to Tennessee. If you know me, you know it's nothing but love for Nashville. Ran and his crew." Ran is the EVP and GM of the Titans. "Ran and his crew are like family. Without them, I wouldn't be here." So it was a celebration of his former team.
He's remembering the Titans.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, that was really sweet that you tweeted that, just to like clear the air. And he seems like a stand-up guy. Like
the best.
They interviewed him after the game, talking about how thankful he was to be on the Chiefs and play for Patrick Mahomes. He just seems really happy, and he had an incredible game.
And if we're going to talk about him, we have to talk about his backstory a little bit. So DeAndre Hopkins' mom is sort of a celebrity in her own right. She's written a book and she's gotten a lot of attention for her history. In 2002, when DeAndre Hopkins was only 10 years old, his mom was in a relationship. She didn't know that this man also had another girlfriend.
Yeah.
And the other woman, stalked her, basically, found her, had created a mix of liquid Red Devil lye and Clorox and threw it on her, fully blinding her.
Yeah,
she was
straight up assaulted her, and
and she's permanently blind forever. So DeAndre Hopkins gives every ball that he gets from a touchdown or a game ball to his mom, and he said he tries to score as many touchdowns and get as many catches as he can so that his mom hears his name, because she can't watch him play football.
Yeah, so she feels part of it. Yeah, it's so sweet. And he always runs up to her. And
he always tries to get her a seat like right by the end zone. So we love him. Seems like a great guy, and he has a great celly.
Keep it up, DeAndre.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you thrive in Kansas City.
Definitely.
Next, we have another defensive celebration, but the Colts linebacker Zaire Franklin picked off Sam Darnold's throw in the end zone and celebrated the interception by doing the Thriller dance. No, he crushed it.
Halloween
I can't do it.
Halloween spirit.
He was really good.
Yeah.
He's like a little stocky guy, too. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
So those are only week 9 cellies, but we do have some honorable mentions from earlier this season. Mm-hmm. We can't talk about this season celebrations without talking about Tyreek Hill's.
We obviously have problems with this man, but, credit where it's due.
Everyone remembers he got pulled over and detained week 1 on his way to the game. Still played in the game, scored a touchdown, and put his hands behind his back. His teammate pretends to arrest him. So he leaned right into what happened and unfolded before the game.
Definitely. Also in week 1, Alvin Kamara decided to mix it up and keep it classy while pounding on the Carolina Panthers when he rushed in a TD and he dropped the ball and politely shook the hands of all his teammates on the field.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's classy.
That is a class act. But you know who did it first? Our friend Marshawn Lynch.
So it was not original.
Not original, but well deserved.
And then my favorite from the whole season, and probably will be hard to beat, is when the Vikings went to London. Cameron Bynum and Josh Metellus did the Parent Trap handshake.
This is the winner for sure.
Iconic. They said that they had practiced it for a full week.
It's really complicated.
It's intricate, but also imagine practicing. Like it's only good for London. It's because the British twin of the Parent Trap did it. They really tried to get a touchdown for that week.
Yeah, imagine if they didn't get a touchdown.
Yeah.
They're ready. I was impressed.
So ready. When we do the Teacup Awards.
That's on the list.
Yeah. Like, I hope something comes in and beats it, but for now, that has my vote.
Yeah. It's a front runner. And that brings us to our final goss.
Final goss.
What do you have for us, Marissa?
Okay. I'm so excited to talk about today's final goss because it's a little bit of a head scratcher and now I'm obsessed. Now that I found out about this story, I'm obsessed, and I hope you all are too.
I'm ready.
So it seems like 49ers offensive tackle Trent Williams is either in the most public affair ever, or maybe in one of our first like high profile open marriages.
Okay.
So
hopefully that one.
I'm at a loss. I don't know. So Trent Williams, he's an NFL vet. He's been with the league since 2010, with the 49ers since 2020. He has 3 daughters with his wife, Sandra Williams, but also he maybe has a girlfriend named Paloma Adams.
Is that her real name?
I think so.
Interesting.
So she has dated other NFL players before. Ooh. She dated a Bucs player a few years back.
Okay.
In February of 2024, when the 49ers were in the Super Bowl, People magazine posted a like get to know the wives and girlfriends of the 49ers article, and they include Trent Williams and they list Paloma as his girlfriend.
And they don't list his wife at all?
No.
And they weren't on a break or anything? That we know of.
Not that we know of. So
wow.
Her whole Instagram is pictures of her in like red and white and red and black outfits. It's her on the field at games. It's her wearing a number 71 necklace. That is his number. But then you go look and at Sandra Williams' Instagram. Also, it's all pictures of her and her husband and her kids, her at the games, her at the Super Bowl.
So weird.
So weird.
Any pictures of them together?
Yes.
Oh.
But on Paloma's Instagram, she has a picture in a slideshow, like in a carousel. One of the buried pictures is of them kissing. So like that is her boyfriend.
Yeah.
But what's the wife's name? Sandra is pregnant with her 4th child.
Oh no.
And we think it's her husband's child. So like literally who are you with? Are you with your wife? Or are you with your girlfriend? Or are you with both?
Are they on the field at the same time?
No. So I went to the Super Bowl to look at the Super Bowl. His wife was at the Super Bowl. Okay. But his girlfriend has been at games since the Super Bowl. And during so right around the Super Bowl is when that article
by People
magazine.
And the wife must have seen that.
She must have. Also, all the comments on her Instagram are like, do you know he has a side chick? Like your husband has a girlfriend.
Oh no.
So she posted like a whole thing about how much she loves him for the Super Bowl. She said, "You deserve it, Lemon Drop. Forever your number 1 fan and cheerleader, Mrs. Sandra D. Williams." What?
Yeah, and this is like less than a year ago.
Definitely. And then, so in recent pictures on Paloma, the girlfriend's Instagram, Claire Kittle commented on one of the more recent pictures and said, like, your outfit is fire, or like outfit with fire emojis. So she's in with the other wags.
I'm so confused.
If the wife wasn't pregnant, I would think, okay, like
maybe they're separated.
He's respectful of his separated wife. She's still his fan, but she's having
his child.
What appears to be his child. It seems like
based on these posts,
they are a family with 3 kids and a 4th on the way. I mean, maybe they have an understanding. They must, because if I know that he has a girlfriend, she knows he has a girlfriend. Also, people keep commenting it on her Instagram.
And it was published in a magazine. That's the most confusing part to me. Like People magazine knows what they're doing.
It's a legitimate source.
Yeah.
And there's like WAG Instagram accounts that let different wives and girlfriends do like game day takeovers of like what it's like to to go to a game as the wife or the girlfriend. And the girlfriend, Paloma, did a game day takeover, and it captioned her as significant other of Trent Williams. Like, does his wife know you're his significant other? So
I hope that his wife knows.
Yeah.
I guess that they have an understanding or something.
Yeah, Reddit was like, is this a sister wife kind of a situation?
I wonder if there's any like photos of the 2 women together.
As far as I could see, they have not been at any games together.
Okay, and in the same box? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, and like, where do all the other 49ers wags stand on it? They must be like, oh my God, so awkward. His wife is coming today and his girlfriend was here last week. Or not. Maybe they
all know the drill.
I would love to know the drill. But, we're going to keep close eye on this, see if he picks one. Maybe he doesn't need to pick one. Maybe they're all a big happy family. What's going to happen when
the child's born?
Gives birth to their 4th child together? I don't know. But this one's, I'm going to be thinking about this one for days to come.
Yeah, we're going to have to check in on this one for sure.
Trent Williams.
Figure it out, Trent.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Tea Huddle.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
And shout out to Christian McCaffrey, who appears to be active for week 10.
Finally, I hear he's been back to practice. Everyone, find us online, IG, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, all of the above.
Say hi. Let us know if you want us to cover anything. We'll be back with the Goss next week.
Any coach firings, avoided arrests, non-avoided arrests, open marriages, you'll find it here next week.
And until then, stay juicy.